first issue is the presidential campaign brings out of the woodwork all sorts of volunteers, all sorts of activists, and all sorts of money that won't show up between presidential campaigns, because there are a lot of people who basically view that as important. So what do? We find volunteers in each community or group of communities. We supply them with organizing material, not just campaign signs and leaflets you can carry door to door, but how to do county organizing. In fact, I've already been doing that, and some of you have already received my Libertarian candidate campaign support disc. It's full of material like Gene Krzyzewski's wonderful county organizing manual. Then, as funds permit, we give support so that we can do local outreach so libertarians in each district can find each other, and so that they can get into the habit of meeting together, doing meaningful work for liberty, supporting their candidates, and getting into the habit of being activists. That really works. It's worked for my local group, the Pioneer Valley Libertarian Association, which is now the oldest continuously existing libertarian group in Massachusetts. I've done it locally. We can copy it locally from coast to coast. I am happy to support our party's platform. Our party's platform, as passed at the current convention this last summer, is that we have borders that are neither open, nor closed, nor secure. They allow people to sneak across to a place where they have no legal protections whatsoever and are treated as slave labor. And because they're here illegally, they have no recourse under the law. The position of our party on borders is that we should have crossing points, we should have clear and unambiguous rules. It is the responsibility of the people who want to come to America to satisfy those rules, and incidentally show they aren't terrorists. They aren't here to blow up buildings or spread disease. They aren't overtly hostile to the country, and they aren't coming here simply to get on American welfare. You cannot have open borders and a social welfare system at the same time. And you may not like it, but you simply can't do it. And my position is, guess what? We have a social welfare system, as those of us who pay taxes notice, and therefore simple open borders are simply unworkable. If elected, I am the commander-in-chief. I instruct our people. You will have a withdrawal plan. There's a large logistics component because we've shipped vast amounts of material over there. You can't just leave in a day any more than we could invade in a day. And over, I think 6 months is a reasonable time, we will leave Iraq. And we will let the Iraqi people choose their own future or futures as they see fit. After all, that's the way the United States worked out. The British finally left because they got tired of having their army shot up, and once they had left, the American people organized as they saw fit. Hopefully they will not do as badly as we did. We had a civil war that killed 3 or 5% of our population, as I recall. I hope they do better than we did. But we will leave promptly. The reasonable, well, of course, it depends a bit on who the major party opponents are. The reasonable expectation is there will be a pro-war Republican, and the reasonable expectation is that the Democrat will be Hillary Clinton, whose position is we're over there now, we have to stay the course. I will be the visible, viable, end the war promptly candidate. That is reasonably expected to be the #1 issue, and my position is end, and their position will be to stay. However, if you consider the other issues I mentioned, civil liberties, the Military Commission Act, balancing the budget, reducing the size of government, you can go down that list, And every single one of those issues is an issue where, I don't know who the Republican will be, maybe John McCain or Rudy Giuliani, you name him, and Hillary Clinton or maybe someone else will not agree with us. But there's one important difference. I can look at polling numbers, and if you look at the issues I was just talking about, those are issues where the American people are behind us and will not support the Republicans and Democrats once they see that they have a choice. Education. The federal government should get out of the education business. We should repeal No Child Left Behind. If there are members of Congress who think that they are competent to run a school system, there have been worse ideas. I will remind them they already have one, because Washington, D.C. is purely the creation of the federal government. And they have a school system that they are already responsible for. It's a school system that stinks to high heaven. And my message to Congress is, if you think you can do something for education, fix D.C., make it a shining example, and until then, don't inflict your lousy ideas on anyone else. Now there's another part of that, and this is, how do we move money back to the American people and out of the federal government? I will ask Congress to create a tax credit. It will be a $5,000 tax credit assigned to a child to pay for homeschooling and private schooling. That tax credit has several consequences. First of all, every time you pull a child out of a school system and only take $5,000 in tax credit, you have just increased the money available for all of the other children in the district. Second, we know as libertarians we are not enthused about public schools. As Mark Twain said, God did create school boards, but he realized it was a mistake. And what we will do is to strengthen the private and homeschooling business by giving it tax equality. The public schools do well because they're subsidized on a huge scale by government, and I propose to even the balance. Finally, I have just given you a path, $5,000 per student, and that is money out of the federal tax reserves into the pockets of private Americans. By the way, if any of you are school teachers, private schools tend to have small administrative staffs and big teaching staffs, and I've just told you where you can get a lot of extra jobs through my program. If you nominate me, I will be our first unambiguously pro-choice presidential candidate in a considerably long time. Now, to their credit, Harry Brown and Michael Badnarik made clear that their personal stands were not going to come up. They were going to stand behind our party's beliefs. I don't have to make that statement because I am 100% pro-choice. The government has no role in this matter. Similarly, the government has no role in restricting stem cell research and other research on reproductive issues. That was an inappropriate act, and I will ask Congress to undo all of the strange things that George Bush has done. I am going to be there to defend our Bill of Rights. It appears that we have had large numbers of federal agents in the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, you name it, and these people have committed a wide variety of crimes. I will ask Congress for a corps of special prosecutors to see that all those people who committed crimes get the jail sentences they deserve. And I will pressure Congress as vigorously as possible to repeal the Military Commissions Act and all of the other acts you mentioned.